Hey, it's BrickTsar. You know, I came down here to do a review, and then I just had a complete change of plans. I got an idea of maybe a segment that I'd like to include in some of my videos. I want to get your thoughts on that. Plus, I want to give a shout out to two people that had an honor this weekend, and then we'll also probably look at this Speed Racer set as well. But first, let's give the shout out. So our shout out this week goes to, that's right, Shaquille O'Neal and the answer, Allen Iverson, AI. They have both been inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Hooray! Congratulations to Shaquille O'Neal, one of the best centers of all time. The big Shaq, he was just awesome and dominant, even in college. I enjoyed watching him play from his time back at LSU, that's Louisiana State University, also with the Orlando Magic, Los Angeles Lakers, Miami Heat, and play for a couple other teams or something. I was hoping the Hawks would get him there at the tail end of his career, but they didn't. But congratulations, Shaq. And AI probably weighed 165 pounds soaking wet, one of the hardest working basketball players I have ever seen. Put him and Dennis Rodman up there. I mean, he just played so hard, gave his all. Really enjoyed watching him play as well. He never got a chance to win a championship, though he did do pretty good in the finals in the first game when they played Shaq's Laker team. But that's AI. So I wanted to give them that shout out and congratulations. There's a frog in here. So I really wanted to do a review of a set. I actually built this set about a month or two ago, and I never got around to reviewing it. You know, it's this set 8159. It's Speed Racer. It's Racer X, aka Jack, and this Taejo, or whatever his name is. These cars they're pretty neat looking. I just didn't really have a whole lot else to say about it. And I was like, oh, this would be such a depressing review. I did like some of the Speed Racer sets much better than the movie. That movie will cause you to have a seizure. But, oops, Jack. Never going to get off the island. So that's your sig figure. Your figures, no back printing there. What year did this set come out? I guess I should have looked at that before I started. 2008. Racer X has no back printing either. I do like the red card. Probably look better without all the stickers. But it's pretty neat. So the Speed Racer sets, they were pretty neat. There's some pretty good figures in them. And I know there's even some of the torsos that people use for their sig figs, which may be why I accidentally said that at the beginning. But yeah, so that's a pretty cool set from 2008. I don't think the Speed Racer sets really went up in value, so you can still find them usually at a decent price. So, you know, I assembled them. You know, this leads to a back question. I'm going to answer 3 back questions in this video. And we'll start with the last one first that I wrote down on my piece of paper. This is from LEGO4Life Productions. He says, do you keep all of your sets built, or do you disassemble some to make room for other sets? And in a roundabout way, I've answered this question probably a couple of years ago, but it's kind of a flow here, especially when you got a large collection. And right now, I'm working on trying to figure out what the best thing to do. We'll go back over here. Hold on a second. Alright, so this is pretty much what's left of my modern Lego city. I'm working on a vintage city, so I've kind of moved everything down. And a lot of the smaller sets, it's not that big a deal to break them down. But big sets like this, like the modulars, you know, it takes you a couple hours or more sometimes to build these. So, and it takes a long time sometimes even to take them apart. But they, you know, they get dusty when they sit on display for a long time. So I don't know if keeping things assembled is always the best thing to do if you don't have the room to display them. And even if you do have the room, it's a matter of keeping them clean and dust free. So that becomes a problem. Is that my original See if it can, no, I don't think it's the right one. But when I started YouTube back in 2012, one of the first things I did was disassemble all my big sets because I wanted to start fresh and do reviews. I thought reviews would be the thing to do on YouTube since I already had a lot of sets. But that's, you got to be able to change. It's one thing I've learned over the last 4 years with YouTube. You got to kind of adapt. And so reviews are kind of dead right now unless you're one of the top reviewers, where it doesn't matter if your review is short or long, crappy or good. It's not a problem. But there's so many people that have access to these. So reviews, I just don't think are the way to grow a YouTube channel. I don't know how I got sidetracked onto that when he was talking about, do you display your sets? So, for instance, all right, so if you're a YouTube reviewer, you can build the set, display it if you want, or you can keep it up for a while, or then you can take it apart, put it in your mocks, and then go from there. Let me go over there to that side. So if you're not worried about keeping something assembled like a set, it's actually easier because you don't have to worry about keeping all the pieces together. You can mix them all up, and it's usually easier to keep things sorted by the piece type instead of by the set. See my stuff, I'm keeping all the vintage stuff assembled right now. That's why I'm showing you this, because I'm going to do in my Legoland series, we're going to be doing all these older sets and things like that. And one of those does not belong with that, but so I've kept them assembled, and I've kept other things assembled. But some of the larger sets, it becomes a problem. It becomes problematic because gradually over time pieces fall off, pieces disappear, pieces get picked up by kids and used somewhere else. And so they end up having an incomplete set, so it's really hard to keep track of all that. And then, oh look, that's where I got all this. I need to add some more of the sig figs to the basketball stadium. See, I'm keeping this assembled, but I don't really have any place to put it, so it's over here on this top of this box. And it comes doubly hard when you collect other things like trains, like I do. You see I got these other sets stored here. This is not the way I intended to store them. I just had a blank shelf, and I said I'll just put these here for now. I need to get things grouped together. So one thing I'm doing is all the statue figure sets, ones like this, I'm putting together. I also need to get my maxi figure sets together. And then other things that were more display worthy I was going to put on this shelf over here, but even that's evolved over time. TheyMightBeBricks was supposed to have a space shuttle display. We got a bunch of space shuttle sets. We haven't even finished building all of them. And then, you get other things you want. Oh, we got our DeLorean collection that doesn't include, Lego and non-Lego items. There's another space shuttle. Things like this Mindstorms AT-AT. I don't want to take it apart. I don't want to take Wally apart. This train station has fallen apart so many times. And there's that Lufthansa plane. I just kind of threw it there. I reviewed it on the table and then turned around and set it there. I keep the Yellow Castle together. But see, the stuff's just all over the place. So the problem is, in keeping things assembled, is having a place to display them. So when you have a large collection, it's really, really, really a challenge. So that's, we go on YouTube and see the way people have done it. But the easier thing to do would be to maybe keep a few that you like to display and then take apart the rest and store them, because they'll take up far less space. And I haven't been able to do that. See, there's the Black Seas Barracuda. Oh, the poor color charts just way over. Anyway, I'm sidetracked. All right, so that's just a tiny sampling of my collection. I'm really going to work on downsizing, selling duplicates of things, even some of my vintage sets that I have duplicates. Like I have 5 firehouses. I don't need 5 of the same firehouse. I can sell some of the other ones. And so, what do? Do you keep your sets assembled? I likely think a lot of you probably keep a few assembled, but most of you probably take them apart to store them or take them apart to use and mock. So tell me in the comments below, what do you do? And maybe I'll put a card up here. I just really like this question from LEGO4Life Productions. So we'll go on to the next question, and it is from Tiger Shark, who says, what is the best John Wayne movie ever? I put True Grit, and they never ate grits in the movie. So what is your favorite John Wayne movie? I wasn't a big Western person, but I think the question that Tiger Shark asked is appropriate because I have done some Western themed sets lately. There was one over there, the Texas Rangers we looked at. And I am going to do a diorama or a video featuring all the vintage Wild West sets that we have as soon as I finish building the others. In fact, I don't even know where the big set, I don't know what I did with it. I think it's in the other room, so we got to do that. I just knocked AI over, sorry. All right, one more question, and this one is from the Brick Hunter. He says, Bat, what are your thoughts on the LEGO re-release of the Death Star? That's a good question. I thought I'd better put my face on this one. All right, so the Death Star, I guess it's having mixed, I can't really call it reviews because nobody has it yet, so how can you review something you don't have? But there's mixed thoughts on the Death Star. For one thing, it costs $500. That's disappointing to most people. The second thing is, it's so similar to the last Death Star. That's disappointing to people. So those are, I think, the two main reasons. There may be other main reasons that people don't like it. But what are my thoughts? Well, probably the same as the first Death Star. I didn't get that thing for the longest time. It's sit in stores for, how long did they run that thing for? 8 years or more? And so I'm assuming that what's happened is LEGO, either with new elements or new production runs, they just wanted to update it. It probably was such a good seller for them that they wanted to keep it in their keep it there. I mean, I'm used to sets only being available for 3 years, so it's probably a pretty good thing for collectors and fans of LEGO, fans of Star Wars that maybe started collecting LEGO later. They're still able to get this, because you think about this. I could have had the first UCS Millennium Falcon for $350, $400. I mean, it was way below retail at one time with a box damage set, and I didn't get it. Well, if they had kept that set in stores for 8 years, I would have probably eventually got it. But now I can't get it, and if I wanted to go get it now, it'd be a lot more than $500. So I think it's a good thing that LEGO makes that available to people. But if you don't want to pay that $500, don't get it. It's no problem. I mean, they've done that with other sets, I think, that were overpriced, and you don't have to buy them. I know there's some out there that think it's a scam, it's scummy, it's greedy. That's people that say stuff like that are people that don't know anything about business, about free market. You know, let the market decide. If you think it's too high price, you don't buy it. I think it's stupid for a business to go into business and not to try to make a profit, not to sell things, to try things. And if it's a bad idea, if it's overpriced, which I do feel it's a bit overpriced, I do feel it's disappointing that it's the same thing. But I think it's a little short-sighted, a little narrow-minded to call it a scam, scummy, or greedy. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video. If you like all things LEGO, please subscribe to my channel. If you want me to give you some tips on making YouTube videos, I might even do that. Now, you might be thinking, your channel stinks. How can you give tips on making YouTube videos? We're going to see if we can turn this channel around and maybe have it have the growth of my other channel, Trains Are Fun, which is things that we're doing over here. I'll show you. Look, it's a battery. No, that's not what I was going to show you. So I think limiting myself to just LEGO was probably one of the worst decisions I ever made on this channel. But I'm going to keep it. I'm still going to make this channel be about LEGO, but I'd like to incorporate other things. Like, you know, with Trains Are Fun, I'm not limited. I can pretty much do anything I wanted. Like, this setup here has LEGO, wooden trains, model trains, Trackmaster trains, Duplo. And I got some Mega Blocks. Yes, Mega Blocks. But you know, if I was to shift my channel to doing things like this now, it would hurt my channel even more. So I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is do things like I'm doing with my BrickTsar's Legoland, do things that I like, that I hope that you like. I'm going to continue to do the BrickTsar answer thing and try to be more regular with that. Maybe even do some live streams once I get the internet thing working a little better. Our internet's completely unreliable here. and you know, go back to showing you the collection. I think collection videos are a good thing to do. Now some of this stuff's not Lego, but I want you to see my city. I want you to see sets that I like. I'm going to do an inventory of what we have, and then we're going to keep selling things. So keep watching this channel. And I don't care if everything's a mess in the background. What's your basement look like? What's your Lego room look like? Is everything all pristine and clean? I doubt it. Well, we want to get ours to look like that, so we'll be working on it. And the best way to do that is to sell some of this. So be sure to check out the Bricklink store. I'm thinking about running a sale. In fact, I'll go do that after I get done editing this video. And probably by the time it's uploaded, I'll have a sale like 10% off or something. And another thing I thought is like perhaps maybe making sales that were just for people that watch YouTube videos, giving you a code or something. I don't know. We might do that in the future. But man, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out BrickTsar's Legoland. Thanks to AI and Shaq for joining us. Carl, as always. Banana Man, thanks. Jack. Let's go back. What happened to your helmet, Jack? See you in the next video. It's BrickTsar.